Well, hello there, and welcome to MC Apgo. And we want to talk about some multiple choice questions. There's a couple of them up here behind me that we want to talk about today. Which of the following is not in the line of presidential succession? What we're talking about there is if something happens to the president where I say he because it's always been a he so far, where he is unable to fulfill his duties, he resigns, he's impeached and then removed from office by the Senate, or he dies. So what happens next? Who is the successor to that president? Is it the Speaker of the House, the Attorney General, the Secretary of the Interior, Secretary of State, or the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court? Of course, it could be all of those people, except for one. So the way it works is that, of course, it's the president first, and then the vice president, followed by the Speaker of the House. We go closest to the people, the leader of the lower chamber, closest to the people, 2-year terms, Speaker of the House. From there, it goes to the constitutional officer in the Senate, the President pro tempore, who's usually the longest-serving member of the majority party in the Senate. And from there, we go to the cabinet. And, of course, that's those 15 or so cabinet members that are in the executive branch. And they go in order of when the person was added to the cabinet. Okay? So in order of when that position was added to the cabinet historically. So, that's one of the reasons that they have that person, that designated person, to be not at the State of the Union address or any other joint session of Congress, because if something, heaven forbid, happens while the president's giving a speech to the joint session of Congress, and the president's gone, the vice president's gone, the Speaker of the House is gone, the president pro tempore is gone, and all of the cabinet is gone, then, oh my goodness, who's in charge here? Was it Alexander Haig? Look that up. Or is it somebody else? And so what they do is they keep somebody out of that area in case something bad happens in a secret, undisclosed, safe location, secure location, in case something bad happens, and hopefully it never does. Find some wood to knock on, but they have that taken care of. So it's kind of like the king is dead, long live the king, except in a U.S. government kind of a way. So everybody's gone, we still continue on. So Speaker of the House is in line for presidential succession. The Attorney General, although not called Secretary, he's called she's called Attorney General, the Chief Law Enforcement Officer, is of course in the cabinet, in the Justice Department. Secretary of the Interior, usually somebody from the West, because they deal with the big national parks, Grand Canyon, things like that, and Buffalo. Secretary of State, obviously in the cabinet. Secretary of State is the cabinet member who deals with negotiations and diplomacy between other nations. The only person not in that line of succession is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Let's move on. Which of the following presidential appointments requires Senate confirmation? Now we know that the Senate, as the upper house, is a pretty important part of the legislative process, but it also has an oversight process, and it also has the ability to advise and consent to nominations by the president. The president can appoint members of the cabinet. The president can appoint members of the Supreme Court and federal judges, and even as a separate appointment, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. So which of the following presidential appointments requires Senate confirmation? Well, generally you should think of this as not those people who are political appointees, but those people who are government appointees, or those people who are constitutional officers. So we got here, we're talking about somebody who is a chief of staff? No. Presidential appointee? No confirmation required. White House counsel? Nope. Same. Press secretary? Same thing. White House speechwriter? Same thing. It's the secretary that requires, as a cabinet officer, confirmation.